Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 157. It was white here, played e4, and my opponent replied with, that was a bit loud, my opponent replied with c6, the Caro-Kann defense. So I played d4, he plays d5, and usually over the board and in other Blitz games I play the move e5, the advanced variation. That's been pretty popular lately and quite successful at the top levels, but I wanted to experiment, so I've been playing the Panov-Botvinnik most recently whenever I get the chance, and that's the exchange followed by c4. And white is deliberately taking on an isolated queen's pawn position here, and he hopes to get some attacking chances. More space in the center, there's a number of advantages that come with the isolated queen's pawn, although you have to bear in mind that it's a long-term weakness. So my opponent played knight f6, the main move, and then once again I played knight f3. I guess this is a habit from other openings, but the main move and the knight in the Panov-Botvinnik is knight c3, just continuing along with the idea of c4 or knight c3, are consistently attacking this point d5. So that's the way to remember it. Those are the main moves. Now it turns out, after my opponent plays e6, which is the main response to knight f3, white usually plays knight c3. So by playing knight f3 and then knight c3, I've actually transposed back into the main line of the Panov-Botvinnik. So I have succeeded, I guess, in getting one of the main line positions here. My opponent immediately plays an unusual move, knight c6. It looks like bishop to b4 or bishop to e7 are the top choices for black. But knight c6 doesn't appear to be a bad move. If you look at the evaluation, doesn't really change all that much. And now I choose a move which is second-rate, I guess. Looks like bishop g5 is just not as good as the move a3 or even c5. And those are also the top chess engine choices, along with bishop to f4. It's funny, and later I reposition that bishop to f4. So I guess the thing is, this bishop is not doing a whole lot here. I haven't got enough pressure on d4, d5 rather. There's no really meaningful threat. If I take, well, he's going to unpin with bishop e7 most likely. Although my opponent tried the counterpin bishop b4, but after bishop b7, say, bishop e7, unpinning, if I take, he can take with either the knight or the pawn. And yeah, it just appears I'm not getting much out of it. Although in exchange where I force him to put a pawn there might be, that might be something for me. I could get rid of my dark squared bishop and play with a good bishop against a bad one. That's an idea. Anyway, my opponent played bishop b4, and we're pretty much out of the opening book here, so let's just go to the notation tab. And see the game stays in the range of about even to slightly better for black for many moves. We're just making logical developing moves. There was this tactical threat where, here I'll show you, if he takes the pawn, knight takes, queen takes, then bishop takes h7 check, and however he takes it, I'm winning the queen. So that that pawn is defended, and so so bishop d3 is a safe move. But after g6, then the pawn is not adequately defended, so I have to do something about it. Chess Engine prefers bishop e3, just defending it with that bishop, leaving this bishop here. It's a good square. But it's a little bit strange. I mean, this seems like a good post for the bishop here on these dark squares, which he's weakened with the move g6. But I guess on e3, the bishop is still eyeing those dark squares, and it's also defending the center. So that's an idea, bishop e3. Also rook c1 or bishop to h6, yeah, going to that square and attacking the rook. Now this move here, rook c1, that intrigues me because this is very thematic. If I can play a move like rook c1, I'm sorry, that wasn't it. That was rook e1. If I can play a move like rook c1 and get away with it, then I probably should. So this says he can take. I take, queen takes. So it's a pawn sack to play rook c1, and then the move queen e2. And yeah, it looks like white is not getting back his material. He's just giving up that pawn. But it's interesting that the chess engine thinks this is a good pawn sack. because it rates the position is better for white, even though white is down a pawn. I guess one of the points is that this black's light squared bishop over here is locked in behind his pawns. But he can play, b6 and get the bishop out. Knight d5, it's saying, is a move. And bishop takes e7. Bishop. Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of pressure on the knight here. Knight d5 defends the bishop. Bishop takes, knight takes. And rook f to d1. So maybe it's just the activity and the open lines for the rooks is worth the pawn. So let's back up to this position here. So rook c1 is an idea here. I played the move bishop c2, just directly defending it with the knight and the bishop. And so the game continues. Bishop f4. Like I said, I repositioned the bishop on this diagonal. It was starting to look a little more attractive. This one I couldn't see getting anything going on that one. And with the idea of knight to b5 to c7 perhaps. He plays b6. And now it says bishop a4 is a good move here. Yeah, that looks good. Put the bishop here and you get a pin on this knight. Also bishop to, I was really thinking about putting the bishop on this square, but unfortunately it's covered by his knight. Yeah, a little bit tricky. It's not clear that bishop on e4 is all that great anyway, since he can play bishop b7 and defend the knight and break the pin, basically. Anyway, I played knight to b5, and now that's not so good. And says he should follow up with knight d5. So now black has a slight edge. And, well, it goes back and forth. After the exchange, I do end up sacking a pawn here, and the position is about even. So that was a decent pawn sack, I guess. And the game continues. Yeah, so rook e1 was not the most accurate move. So what's the best way to continue? Knight e5. Yeah, just going directly with the knight to hit some of the sensitive squares in black's camp. So knight e5 and then bishop back to g5. Or queen to f3. Yeah, getting the queen out seems like a good plan. Okay, so that'd be a better way to play. I developed the rook, which is an okay move, just not the best. And then this move, right. So at this point, black actually has he's a pawn up and he has a slight edge. So I have some compensation for my pawn, but I haven't played the most accurate move, so my compensation is diminishing. And really, he just blunders with rook f8 and sets up this skewer, giving the advantage back to me. So and queen takes b2 is one of his best tries there. Yeah. And I grab the rook. So now I have the exchange, and he's got two pawns, and it's about even. He retreats. Oh, he takes back with the knight. Okay, yeah. So it's not just retreating. He's got to recapture the bishop. And looks like rook b1 immediately is an interesting way to play. Bishop g3, queen d3, maybe not so accurate. It's all about even. Okay, even to a slight edge for white. Knight b4. So knight b4 then was not the most accurate move. Because I did get some activity here. It looks like queen b5 is the best try. That's an interesting idea too. Queen b5 pins that knight, and then it eyes this knight here. But that knight is defended, so it's not really making a terrific threat. Let's explore this. Queen b5. Why not just play knight to d3? Oh, because the queen's defending d3. Okay. Okay, so that is an awkward pin. I was thinking knight d3 defends the queen, so it's not really pinned, but it is pinned. And so a5 to defend the knight. And then I can push ahead with d5. And the knight can't take it. So that's pretty interesting. And then this bishop is loose here. If he takes the pawn, this bishop is loose. So, okay, that would be the way to play here. Maintain my advantage. I play queen e4 instead, which was like the second choice of the chess engine. Just getting the queen to an active square, just trying to do something on the king side. I really want to get over here to h6, although the knight is defending the g7 square, so I can't really threaten mate, but maybe the combination of my queen h6 and knight g5 is looking interesting. He develops his rook, and now here's the tactic for you if you want to cover up the right-hand side of the board and the video and guess the tactic so you don't see the chess engine giving it away. Okay, I'm going to give the answer away. Queen b7 is a great tactic here. It's a double attack. New variation. So this is your classic weakness of the last move. Black was just fine here. The game is even. Nothing is going on. Well, can't say nothing is going on, but the game is even. And just one move, putting this rook on a square where it's loose, and then this bishop is already loose, and then my queen can hop into b7 and attack both of them. So that would have been a nice way to finish the game off. I missed that and played rook e to b1, which is a move I had been thinking about. It's kind of what happens when you think a few moves ahead and you're in a blitz game where you have to move quickly. You tend to play the move you've been thinking about and you don't notice these new opportunities. But really, if you want to improve your results in any kind of chess, if you could discipline yourself to just look for those threats, both yours and your opponent's, on every move. You know, what are the things that change and what are the new threats in the position for both sides? If you could just do that every move, you would probably score much better, better than me. Okay, Queen c3 was played, and I go on with d5, which was a decent move, although not as strong as I thought. I was thinking there was a double attack on the knight. I'd forgotten that the knight was defended by the bishop. So I just have to move my queen away. And he gives the pawn up. He was in a little bit of time trouble at this point, so he doesn't have to play d4. He could play queen to c4, queen to c6, knight d3. Knight d3, huh? He actually, after the chess engine looks a little deeper, it doesn't like those moves so much, but it settled on knight d3 as the way to play. Yeah, this is a good move. Attacking the queen and the bishop and forcing an exchange. So he played d4 instead. And now I can take it. And it looks like the chess engine prefers white here. These pawns are weak, so it looks like I'll be able to gather them up and then just enjoy my advantage of the exchange. So he went queen c4. And I could go ahead and take at a7 now and just gather that pawn. I played queen h6 instead, so that was kind of a wasted move. He goes bishop f8. And now I play queen e3. And this move is a mistake. Once again, if you want to cover up the chess engine window, you can see if you can guess the move for black here. Fortunately for me, my opponent ran out of time before he found the move, which is knight to c2. Yeah, when I moved my queen back, I put it into a square where it could just be forked. So if we back up, why wasn't knight c2 a move earlier? Oh, because my queen wasn't on, it was on c4 and not on e3. Okay, so when I retreated my queen to e3, it just sets up this fork for my opponent. But fortunately for me, he ran out of time here rather than playing knight c2, and so I managed to win this one. Okay, well, I thought that was an interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and see you again later. Bye.